Some folks will like you and some that just won't. Some that stay real and some that just don't. Trying to fit in will only take you so far. You'll never find home trying to change who you are. So don't spend your whole life trying to be what you ain't. You can't hide your heart with a new coat of paint. You think they'll accept you, I promise they can't. So just be who you are, forget what they think. So just be who you are and forget what they think.
Welcome to the mic, content driven by veterans issues. Today we are going to chat to two vets who are Marine Corps veterans who find life after the uniform pretty challenging, but they've come up with a few workarounds to manage life after the uniform and the great divide that is the transition. How are we doing today, gents?
We're all doing good, brother.
Perfect. I know you guys are out there in sunny California. So, the weather here in the Nashville area is just brutally cold. Well, actually, it was a little warmer today, but compared to California, I'm sure it's probably pretty brisk.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys did in the uniform and how you guys ended up in the Marine Corps. You know, just the normal deets, like what years you were in, what made you decide to get out, you know, what have you been up to since the uniform? You know, the normal stuff. So Ray, why don't you start? What year did you go in?
I went in 1994, 2 months out of graduation, high school. So I went in August 2nd, my mom's birthday of all days. So she wasn't too happy about that shit.
Yeah, happy birthday, mama.
Yeah, she was pretty pissed off on that. But that was my day that I was selected. So, but no, I always I always had a feeling, an urge like to serve the military. At first, I didn't really know what branch. I had a grandpa, actually two grandpas. One was in the Navy, Korean War, and the other one was in the Army, Korean War. They're not my blood grandpas, but I grew up calling them grandpas and stuff. Just because, you know, that's the way it was. You know, my mom came over here at a young age, was raised by them and my grandmas, obviously, and you know, and we just looked them up as grandpas too. So I had 3 sets of grandparents. I was truly blessed, and you know, I had other uncles and not legit, but blood relatives that served during like Vietnam, during the peacetime also and stuff. So there's always been a military connection within my family also. And, you know, coming up to, you know, senior year, junior year, you know, looking at, you know, what to do after. My grades weren't the greatest. You know, I worked my ass off, but all I can really produce was like C's and stuff. But I never knew about community college. So when I went to saw my counselor, they were like, well, you got 2 options. Either find a job with the good union or go to the military. And I was like, wow, shit, I really don't want to stick around the house and stuff because I know I'll probably get into some trouble and stuff. And, you know, just being the way I was, I'll probably be still goofing off with my buddies, even though we're still all in contact. But I had to do something for myself, you know, that was going to better myself. And I always did have a plan for college if I could ever get in. And that one of the things that stuck out was that GI Bill. You know, I was like, you know, if God willing, you know, one day I can use that. So I did join right out of high school. I was in ROTC at school in high school, so I kind of had an idea, and it was Marine ROTC, so that helped me kind of made the decision easier. So I already knew a lot of the rank structure, the general orders, and a lot of the history and everything. So I stuck with the Marines. And when I got out of boot camp, October 21st, 1994, right after that, we went to the school. And like I was saying before when we were talking, you know, I thought for sure, I remember signing as a 0311. But when I got an SOI, they were like, no, your stuff has changed. I was like, change? When the hell am I going to go? You're going across over here to the MCT. And I was like, well, what's over there? You know, it's Marine Combat Training. I'm like, okay, and you're going to be admin 0151. I was like, what the hell is that? What's 0151 and what's admin? I had no clue what it was. And they would have said secretary. I'd been all right, then okay, I'm going to do paperwork and stuff. But yeah, I went to school down in Camp Lejeune. Did that for I think it was like 2.5 months, 3 months. Came back, got stationed at Pendleton. Like I was mentioned before, I was truly blessed where I ended up working. I got to see the whole political side of the Marine Corps. Straight out of school as a young PFC, I started working for General Zinni. General Fulford was the other one, I believe. If I remember, his aide was General DeLong, and then General Fulford, and so forth. But it was such an experience to see what they went through, as far as like not just keeping Marines trained and having to rely on everybody else down the chain of command and stuff, but just the political stuff that they went through. It was nuts, man. They long hours working in their offices. It was long hours. I got to do a lot of secret messages. Got to see a lot of stuff before stuff pop off and stuff. Got to drive the generals around. Got certified with the 9mm. I was able to do all kinds of stuff. It was just neat. It was like literally taking care of the president. We always had calls from the White House or the Commandant and stuff, or always dignitaries were coming in and stuff. So it was a neat experience to see that. And then after I was there stationed from 95 to 98, then I went to El Toro. That closed down. And then from there, I went down to Third Mall, adjutants down at Miramar. And I re-enlisted at Pendleton. And then I just started having back issues. I started gaining weight. Thyroid issue kicked in. Was placed on medical hold. Could never pick up sergeant. And just finally got out on a medical discharge. But throughout that time, because of the thyroid, I gained 80 pounds in like 6 months. I just blew up, man. So I had to deal with a lot of not bullying or harassing, but a lot of like, oh man, freaking, what was it? What was the pokey bait Marine and all that stuff, from some other people. But once they understood and I always stood up for myself, and I broke it down. I wasn't afraid to lose any rank or anything if I had to, hit someone, but they understood that, okay, it's a medical issue. I go, this shit is medical. Trust me, it's all medical. And once they saw that, once all the paperwork came back, they saw I wasn't faking it and stuff. But, I got harassed a little bit, through it. But, even though the last couple of years sucked, I don't let that affect me, because I made a lot of great friends, and we're still friends now. And I think that's what made it all worthwhile, just the relationships that I have with my Marines. And to this day, we're still in contact with a lot of my Marines and stuff. So, that was the short end as far as never deployed anywhere. Got out right before 2001. I did deploy a couple of exercises down to Korea a few times and got to see Japan, some other places here and there. But, as far as anything in combat, no, I was out right before all that. But years after, everything caught up, as far as my surgeries, everything service connected, my PTSD, going in, walking, and then next day, you lose your legs. From the chest down, going paralyzed is like, what the hell? So, the last 12 years, we've been through some hell, but thank God, things are way better. I can't complain. The last 3 years have been great. Still got stuff here and there, but man, it's, I'm, like we said, I can't complain, man. I got to keep going. Got to keep going. And, we all have our days, especially with PTSD. We all have our days, but once we realize that, that's in the past. We got to keep going. It's in the past, and we just got to keep moving forward, man. So that's basically a nutshell. I can keep on going, but I want to make sure I give Sergeant Solo some words.
Let's hear from the dark square box over there in the corner.
I'd rather have some light over here, man.
Yeah. So Solo, man, how did you end up in the uniform?
Oh man, well, actually, I got a phone call from the Marine Corps recruiter. And that's actually the first one that called me up to see if I wanted to join.
Yeah. Okay. So what year did you go in?
I came in March of 2002.
So yeah, right there. Yeah, they were definitely calling people, right?
Yeah, it was I was actually the DEP program when we got hit at the Twin Towers.
Oh wow.
And
they got you early. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually watching it, and I was already in the late entry program. I was gonna go in March. And then when that stuff went crazy, my parents like, see what you got yourself into? They're gonna send you over there, Mijo, and this and now. It's like, you know what? I mean, it is what it is. If they do, but I told you, it's gonna be a while because I still gotta go to boot camp. I still gotta learn my job and do everything. So I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is. I remember feeling when the towers went down, because I was a junior in high school when that happened. So I was pretty close to being the draft age or whatever. Everybody was worried about it at the time. Yeah. And I remember thinking, oh Lord, how long is this thing going to go on? And there was there was a lot of patriotism in the country at that point too, but there was a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to go, you go kind of mentality. Yeah, and it was ironic. I didn't expect to end up in the uniform. Ray, I actually didn't go in until I was 24.
Oh,
I
wow.
turned 24 in basic training. I didn't. It was just kind of one of those things that the recession happened, and I went, oh hell, I got to do something because if I didn't leave the life I was in at that time, I probably would have ended up dead or in prison. I was working in bars and nightclubs, just spinning my wheels. It was not the outcomes were not going to be probably that great, So I saw the writing on the wall. I'm like, here I am. I'm about to hit my mid-20s, and I'm going, hell, I don't want to be doing this at 35. Like, I better go do something. So I enlisted. So what was your job, Solo? Ray was in an admin capacity. What was your job?
Actually, when I went into boot camp and everything, I went open contract. Obviously, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And the funny thing, like Ray, I actually went 8 days after my dad's birthday into boot camp.
Oh,
That's weird. Yeah.
Exactly. So my dad's like, "Oh, you're gonna leave me for 8 days after my birthday?" Like, sorry, Dad, that's when they told me to go. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah, that's
And,
weird.
so yeah, the thing is, I was in San Diego, so like my parents like weren't that far from the depot, so they would try to go see me in boot camp on Sundays for a religious day on Sundays.
Yeah, the holiday routine. That's what we called it in the Navy. Is that what you guys called it? Yeah.
And exactly, so we would go to church, and I would actually, no lie, would actually see my parents over there. Obviously, they couldn't see me because we were all bald headed, we were all like freaking cholos and whatnot.
Yeah. It's funny. What do you call a grad and go? So I literally graduated and they put me right onto a plane to go to A school. So my mom had traveled up from like East Tennessee to the Chicago area where our basic training is. And it was literally like this. Hey mom, bye mom. Like,
Oh man.
yeah, and they don't tell you that whenever you're planning your family coming to see you at graduation. Otherwise I would told them like, don't come, don't even bother. Yeah, and so they didn't exactly coordinate with me at all. Of course, I was an E nothing. What do they tell you when you're an E nothing? Right. I remember I guess right after A school, they had told me I better report at my first duty station, which was it was supposed to be like December 19th was when my report no later than date. That's what they said it was, right? So I had to like leave Christmas early. Like, so I got to the airport December 19th. Of course, the jacked up flights they scheduled. I ended up sleeping on a bench outside the USO in a San Antonio airport. Yeah, it was. And then I get to San Diego, which was our next stop for training. And I go and the command, I check in, and the command duty officer that's standing there is like, everybody's on holiday stand down.
Oh man, get screwed.
Yeah, let me see your orders. And so I was like, okay, here. I give him my report no later than date was actually January 5th.
Yeah. We struck so soon.
And I go, wait, can I go back? And they were like, nah, you're stuck now.
Oh man. Yeah, and that's when you learn about the green weenie.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, it was rough, man. It was rough. And I remember the first Christmas Eve, the first New Year's Eve I spent on base, and I had McDonald's. That was
oh man.
Yeah, like so the command didn't even take care of me. There was like nobody like inviting me over to their house or anything. It was just look.
They didn't know who you were, man. You're still fresh.
Yeah, there's $1 McChicken over there. Let's grab some. Yeah. And that was, baptism by fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right into the uniform, you realize, oh shit, this is an alien lifestyle. This is not like anything else. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So did you guys? Ray just said he got a chance to go overseas. What about you, Solo? Did you spend any time outside of the U.S.?
Actually, it's crazy because I was in from 02 to 06, and then I got out. I tried re-enlisting in 06, but my career plan kind of screwed me over. And because it was a staff sergeant, he was pretty much leaving the unit, and freaking he left. And then I got a new guy. He was a sergeant straight out of the schoolhouse, right? And he saw my packet, like, hey, dude, like, are you trying to re-enlist or what? Because your packet's right here. I'm like, yeah, I submitted to the staff sergeant months ago. Like, oh, he never submitted anything, just here in the drawer. Like, holy crap.
Fucking bastards.
Exactly. So I told him, yeah, do submit it like this. And he said, oh, I'll submit it, but we'll see what happens. Like, all right, man, but we'll see what happens. And that by that time, I said it was already too late, and
Yeah.
it was time for me to get out in '06.
Yeah. So I
And then
mean,
no, what's that?
did you get to go overseas then?
Yeah, because freaking so I got out in '06. And I tried doing the whole civilian thing life for a little bit, and then I actually got recalled in 2007.
Oh
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah, they were recalling. There's 150,000 Marines, this and that. And I asked around, do you think they're gonna recall me? I'm just a supply guy. Like, nah, man, they won't recall you. You're good. Well, I get a package in the mail over at my mom's house because I was over here stationed in
Yeah.
29 Palms. And my mom tells me, "Hey, Mijo, you got a package in the mail." I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Well, it says they're asking you to come back to the Marine Corps because they need people and this and that. And at that point, I was like, had a bad taste in my mouth because they didn't want me. I was like, man, this is bull crap. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna try to do my own thing. And so I told my mom, don't worry about it. Well, a couple of days later, she gets another package. It says something about you got to go to Kansas City, Missouri. I'm like, Kansas City, Missouri? What the hell am I doing there? So I drove from my house to San Diego and I read everything. And they said, yeah, you will report to Kansas City, Missouri to see if you can get recalled again. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna pay for the plane ticket. Well, there was a plane ticket in that package.
Oh man, they wanted you.
They did, man. I was like, holy crap, like they're gonna recall me. So I flew to Kansas City, Missouri, and I was there for a week. And then from that Monday to Friday, and that Friday, pretty much I was qualified to come back in, and I had orders that Friday to report to Camp Pendleton.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap! So I went back home. I told the wife and everything. I'm like, you know what? I think this is a sign because they're wanting me back. So I went to talk to the recruiter where I was at, and I told him the situation. You know what? I got out. They called me back in. Like I want to stay in instead of doing 1 year. I just want to reenlist. So things happened, and I was able to just do 4 years there, just one, and
Oh,
then
okay.
I ended up recruiting for a while, recruiter assistance, and then I finally got orders to first tanks here in 29 Palms.
Mm.
It's because
So
I want.
I swear there's a reason why I'm asking you if you if you went overseas or not.
No,
So
I did. I went
okay,
with first tanks to Iraq in 2008,
okay, all
and
right.
then Afghanistan in 2010.
So obviously those are some pretty extreme experiences versus Korea.
Mhm.
But did you guys both experience feeling as if you weren't American anymore coming back from living overseas at all? Because one of the things that I really struggled with was whenever I did my time in mobile security, which we did like operations in and out of Iraq or off the coast of Somalia, dealing with anti-piracy, I really struggled with feeling that the American population were, I guess the appropriate way to say this, if they got the way the rest of the world lived. Because one of the things that I talked about is I came home on leave. I got this 30-day OTEP leave in the middle of this 2-year billet in mobile. And I remember walking down a grocery store aisle, and there was just all these different types of salad dressing. And, whenever you're in, man, you don't have that kind of choice or those kind of luxuries. And I remember feeling a little disgusted, like, why do you need 42 different kinds of ranch dressing? What do we do? What do you do with this? And I remember feeling alien, like I wasn't an American anymore. I didn't feel connected to all this excess that the American culture had. And I wondered if you guys also felt that way after you came back from overseas. Did you ever feel as if, wow, I don't I don't know if I really connect with the American people like I did before the uniform?
Yeah, for me it was actually going to Korea, Japan, and even in Hawaii. I felt more American there because I would be called GI or American go home.
Mm, yeah.
And I was like, okay, they're not saying Mexican American, beaner, wetback, they ain't saying nothing. They just
Mm,
Mhm.
call me an American.
yeah.
So that for me, I was like, man, why can't they people another country see the same shit back home?
Mm,
It doesn't matter the skin color or even if we're in uniform, oh, you're Mexican American. or you're a Latino and stuff. It's not straight. Oh, you're American. You always got to throw the other, your nationality in there and everything. So
Yeah.
I really loved it going overseas, even though they're telling me to get the fuck out of there. Because they would just call me as an American, and even in Hawaii, they're like Hoolies. I think it was Hoolies, go home, Hoolies, or some shit like that. And I'll be around with a bunch of other guys. And like, oh shit, they didn't call us, like dirty beaners or nothing like that. We're American. So that for me, that was a big shock to see how the other world saw as far as Americans. They were more open about it. Like, they can tell who's who, but obviously they knew that, we're their military and stuff. So they just saw it as, as an American. That's it. It didn't matter the color or anything. If you had a uniform, you're an American. So, and then coming home, you do feel a little misconnected. Really do. Just seeing the different options as far as, just being treated, man. It's back once you get back home, it's back to the skin color. Or if you don't look like a vet, like we talked about earlier, you right away get judged just by, your skin color. Oh, you used to be a cholo, or I bet you used to gangbang, you sell drugs, or you do this. And no, motherfuckers, I'm a veteran, man. I might do it now as a veteran, sell some stuff on the side if I have to, but shit, man, it's like, that shouldn't matter. And there is a lot of misconnection with that. And I mean, but like I said before, I don't let it piss me off. I just, lead by example.
Yeah.
Lead by example of what a veteran should be. And so a veteran is someone that's proud of their country, willing to do anything and everything for it, and still, take care of its people and those around. So I mean, I just don't let it phase me anymore. When I was young, it did, but not no more. Now I'd rather just lead by example and make changes, make positive changes to all that.
Yeah, you're right, because I remember all of my time in the uniform was spent overseas. I did 2 years, like I said, in Mobile, and then I did 3 years in Italy. And no one ever mistake any of us, or would not naturally just conclude that we were Americans, because there's just an American era or aura that we just project out. I don't know. They say that we walk different or something. I don't know. That's what the Italians would always say. And you're right, because to the rest of the world, they don't see the distinctions. They just see, oh, that's clearly an American. And I bet that is, well, it's got to be a bitch coming back into the American culture, and then all of a sudden that matters again, because in the uniform it doesn't. Your Latino-ness, I guess, if that's the appropriate term to use, doesn't matter while you're in the uniform. You're my brother. Just protect me, I protect you. That's all that matters. But to your point, people who are not within the military culture don't realize how diverse our ranks actually are, and how different their conception of service actually is. Because Hollywood puts out movies where everybody looks like me in the military, they think that that's what we all look like. But in reality, it is a sharp contrast to that. Specifically in jobs, my job was about 25% Hispanic, 25% Asian, 25% white, and 25% black. Nobody had the majority. It was we were all pretty equally integrated. Yeah. What about you, Solo? Did you notice any strain or frustration coming back from deployments with dealing with Americans again?
Well, I wouldn't say dealing like that, but I did come back in a different way, because things just seem really different. Coming back to, I guess you could say, back to the normal life type of thing.
Yeah.
And even my mom told me, like, she would look at me and she pulled me to a side, like, "Hey, Mijo, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you seem really different, really out of it." Like, well, I don't know, just coming back over here, trying to have a normal life after going over there is it's just weird, especially for me, because, like I said, I was a supply guy, but when I deployed to Iraq, I became the gunner for my NRAP.
Wow.
So every time we were like in the city and everything, I was the guy up on the gun, and everybody was obviously protected by the armor, and I was the only one with freaking up
Your head
on
out.
the gun.
Yeah. Your head out, sticking out and vulnerable. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm the only one able to, and then especially like crossing the bridges, that's when I started getting like panic attack. And every time we'll go, like, "Hey, solely ready," and I do, let's just go for it, man. If it happens, like, freaking, may God protect us, and let's just go, man. Let's just do it. And it was just like, yeah, it was pretty awkward, pretty intense type of moments.
You know what's funny is mamas always know, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with me. You know, I fought for years saying, no, nothing's wrong, nothing's different, and
Mhm.
mom just looked at me and said, "No, honey, you're different." And then you do that. Oh, mom,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. Ugh.
Yeah.
Why you
try,
gotta
try,
just
try to man
feel like
up,
you
but
just
you
got
just can't
punched
do
in
it
the
with your
heart?
mom.
Yeah. Yeah, because moms always do. Because they know what you were before. They've seen you your entire life, and then
Mhm.
they see the shift in you,
Mhm.
and it's. I think it's because when mama says something's different, boy,
Mhm.
like you just have to stop and listen. Like,
Yeah.
okay, all right. That was for me. That was definitely the watershed moment when mom said,
Yeah.
"No, honey, you're different." That's whenever all of my bullshit explanations quickly disappear. Yeah,
and,
I was
Yeah.
like,
They
okay,
can
all right,
tell
mom. Mom just said I'm different, so
Yeah,
I
they
guess
could
she's
tell your
telling the
attitude
truth.
and
Yeah,
your attitude and your body language and everything. Cause like I said, I thought it
yeah,
was being okay, but you said no, you're like staring out into nowhere, like you're thinking about something. I'm like,
mm,
no, I think I'm okay, but she says no, something is definitely wrong. Just like, yeah, there might be something wrong with me.
yeah. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. There's because while you're over there, it's
Hmm.
adaptive.
Oh yeah.
It's important for you, like for example, the hypervigilance is what a lot of people talk about when it comes to like PTSD symptoms.
Yep.
The head on the swivel, right? You're all the time scanning. Well, that's life-saving over there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. If you don't, you could potentially miss a warning sign that
Yeah.
might get you hurt or somebody in your team hurt.
Hmm.
So it's whenever we cycle back, those things now become from adaptive to maladaptive. Now searching the room constantly looking for a threat is exhausting.
Yeah.
It's so tiring because you're trying to apply something that was once working in this environment to something where it's no longer suitable to live. I remember the first time I went to a bar after I got out of the desert, like it was just, you know, and I
Hmm.
remember just feeling exhausted. And yes, bad things can happen at a bar, but
Hmm.
come on, man. It's not nearly to the level or the threshold of your time over there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about now that we've kind of unpacked what we did in the uniform and some of our experiences that we've had that have informed how we've lived after the uniform. Let's talk about you guys' artwork. And I know Ray often giggles whenever I describe it as artwork, but it is truly a creative pursuit that you're both engaged in. And as we kind of talked about before we were recording, there are some therapeutic gains that happen whenever you engage in creative pursuits. So let's talk a little bit about that. Ray, you want to go first? Obviously, because you have PTSD bottles next to you next to your name, so uh, we won't bury the lead there.
yeah. Just man, for me, just doing what I've been doing has really been a lifesaver. Just hearing Solo and others that have talked about, just their PTSD coming from, combat related or overseas out there. I mean, my overseas was completely different. It was more kind of work, exercises type thing, and then afterwards go party, have a good time, and then come back. But but the PTSD, no matter if it's combat, accident, or some sort of physical altercation, or there's rape or so many other things that it causes it,
Hmm.
the aftermath is all the same.
I'm
That,
glad. I'm glad you said that because there's been a couple episodes that we've talked about what PTSD index events are, and a lot that people just automatically assume that it's combat related
yeah,
issues, but
is
they can be occupational accidents that are life threatening. They can be. I
Hmm.
just talked to Althea from She Vets It. She got into a really serious car accident while in Germany. It
yeah,
wasn't even, it was not even related to her job, but she had traumatic brain injury and PTSD that developed
yeah,
out of that. So there's lots of different things that go into what can cause PTSD, and I think within the society and in our military culture, we automatically jump to the conclusions that it is combat related, but it is such a more in-depth symptomology than just having these combat experiences. Because as we've talked about before, 85% of the jobs in the military are not combat jobs. 15% carry a rifle in the performance of their duty every day. We got weirdos like Solo that technically their job wasn't in combat arms, but they have combat experiences. So even within the 15%, only about 15% of those actually have like live fire interactions or IED interactions where it's combat related. So we're talking about a very small minority of people in the uniform actually have those type of experiences, but yet there are tons more of PTSD diagnosis that get handed out by providers towards the military. So it's just it's just a complicated disorder that I think a lot of people like to just throw into a box of, oh, it has to be combat related.
Yeah, exactly. And even when I was told that I had it, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, I wasn't in combat. And I tried denying it and not arguing with my therapist, but she's like, no, you got it. And it's not just combat. And once she explained, I was like, oh shit. But yeah, even with, even though mine being medical and all that, the hypervigilance always, because I mean, I was walking, I was strong, I was somewhat healthy, just still trying to lose weight and everything. And, one day all that be taken away, I feel weak. I feel like I can't protect my family. So I'm hyper vigilant all the time, seeing what I can arm myself right away, or if something was to happen, you're always thinking ahead, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy how your mind starts thinking. You go start thinking back to your military, training and everything that we've learned and stuff. But what really helped me out was doing that. I started out first making jewelry at the VA. I was there for therapy one day, and there was a recreational therapist needing one more person to fill up the class, or not, she couldn't have the class. So she, poor lady, she practically begged me to go. I was like, man, I'm not going to do jewelry. That's for women. I ain't going to do that shit. And she convinced me. And I was like, all right. And I got good at that shit. I was like, holy moly. I got really good making jewelry, man. I started selling it at, I was selling it at the retirement homes all over. People were loving my stuff. People were like, are you really a man? I go, fuck yeah, I'm a man. Why? You're not this type of man. I was like, no, I'm all man. Women, I was like, no.
Ray, would you consider yourself to have a lot of machismo? Is that
it's a Hispanic in him?
Yeah.
But the way they would ask, I would just start laughing. Like, what, does it matter if I'm not? Or, just things like that, how they assume. But, but I got really good at that stuff. I mean, I started making some nice pieces of artwork. And then just after I had the spine infection, when I was in for 8 months, and then when I broke my back, I couldn't no longer. I can't just sit there and just move my fingers like I used to, as far as, trying to put the needle through the freaking beads and all that, like I used to and all that. Yeah. But before that, my family gave me a nice bottle of Johnny Blue, and I got finally medically retired. Well, unemployable. I still didn't get the 100 at the time, but unemployable, which was basically being retired. And I fought for years to get that. So they gave me a nice Johnny Blue bottle, and just looking at the bottle and stuff, and I found out the bottle's made out of crystal. It's a really nice bottle. So I started Googling little by little how to drill into the bottles, and as just my times in and out of the hospital, I try and work with the bottles and stuff. And then once I've said I can't do this no more, I can't do the jewelry, and I just started practicing on the bottles and stuff. And PTSD. Changing the stigma on it. My brother Moses came up with the name. He's like, hey, you should name your stuff PTSD jewelry. Well, obviously now it's bottles, and he's a post-traumatic smooth designs. I was like, bro, I love that. I love it. It's something different, complete. There's a lot of meaning to that. You see PTSD, people are like, what the hell? It brings up conversations. Today a lot of people see my sign, they come up, what does this mean? Or what do you got with what's behind this PTSD and stuff. So I'm able to communicate with a lot of people, and he really blessed me with that name. And then he also, that's where he came up with, you know what, your artist name is Smooth Palette. I was like, you know what, hell yeah, that's my name right there. I'm sticking with that too.
So let me ask you something, because obviously we've talked a little bit about the Latino culture, and I interviewed Irving, who is of Dominican descent, and of course I talked to Mia a couple of weeks ago, who is a Marine, and she's from Peruvian. She's Peruvian descent. Whenever I mention talking about these things in the Hispanic cultures, their responses were, "Oh hell no, we don't talk about this. We don't talk about it at all." Is that similar in your experience as well?
Yeah. Yeah,
Do people seem as if it's weird for you to talk about
it
PTSD
is.
in a
It is.
candid manner?
I
Yeah.
mean, for me, it took me a while to really be comfortable within my own skin, myself, to be confident and be proud of myself. Because I always like, no, I don't got this, or I try to hide it
Mm,
and stuff. And I didn't want to feel weak. I didn't want
yeah.
people to know that I was vulnerable. So
Yeah.
I put up a front. Now, I mean, I know I'm not weak, and I know I'm
Yeah.
not vulnerable. But the more we talk about it, the more people know about it and stuff.
Yeah.
Same within the Latino community, and I think in any, everyone has that machismo in any culture.
Hmm. Yeah.
Men are not supposed to be weak. You
Yeah.
got to be able to take care of your shit, handle it, and move
Yeah.
forward.
And to your point, like I'm from the South, right? I'm here in Tennessee, East Tennessee, specifically Appalachia is where I'm from. And so we're an honor culture as well. And that's exactly the same thing. Men are supposed to, defend the good name. You're out there like making sure you do nothing that discredits the family name. Of course, the women also have to maintain the purity standard. So it's just as pernicious on both sides. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, so absolutely. And whenever you start talking about these things, people go, "Wait, why are you talking about it? You're supposed to be the strong, silent type about these things. Handle your shit, right?"
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's not just within one specific type of culture. There's a lot of American cultures that feel the same way about it.
Yeah.
But so I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh,
So
you're fine.
you go onto the bottles, and you
Yeah,
start working with the glass, which I
yeah.
assume obviously is probably difficult to work with,
It
right?
is. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a lot of breaking bottles, a lot of
Yeah.
cussing in my garage, a lot of throwing bottles and everything.
Yeah.
There was points to giving up. But I first just started, putting the lights inside, and then just as time started going, well, I wonder if I can, take off all the labels and learn how to, because every bottle is different.
Sure.
Everyone has a different routine to it, what you can and can't do to them. So I've learned all that with the last couple of 3 years. The last 3 years, I've been learning, that each one is different, and I know the different techniques of how to drill into them. I
Yeah.
just can't get down and root right away. No, it takes everyone. Everyone is special, and
Yeah.
then I just started, taking off the labels. Found different ways that made it easier for me to take off all the labels. A lot of them have glue, sticky film, and all that. Then I started spray painting. I wonder if I can spray paint and throw on my team's the Raiders, and that's the first one of the first lamps I wanted to make was a Raider one. And I'm like, man, I wonder if it's right there. And sure enough, I was like, oh, hell yeah. It just started going from there. My mind just kept going and going and going. Same with the jewelry. My mind kept going and going with designs that I wanted to do and create,
Yeah.
colors, coordination. Same thing now with the bottles and the lamps. And I still got other ideas that I'm trying to work at. And I do a lot of them, but I'm very limited too because of my hands
Yeah.
and my back and everything. There's so many things I want to do that I'm little by little, I'm learning different techniques that's going to help me to get to where I want to be and stuff. But
Yeah. I
this
guess.
has been such a blessing.
Yeah. I guess that was my next question. Is are you going to start making your own glass? Is that the next? Is that the next progression
I don't
of
think
being
I
a
can
gas
because
man?
there's a fire and stuff.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Marines and
California.
fire. I don't know. That sounds
Yeah,
great, man.
yeah. Because I know I'll have
Yeah.
a fire here, and neighbors will come. So I got a great neighborhood. We'll start drinking. We'll just start throwing the bottles and stuff.
Yeah, especially in California, I guess you guys
Yeah,
are
yeah.
pretty sensitive
And
about
my
flammable.
backyard's a hill, so no, I
Yeah,
don't think so. But no,
yeah,
I would love to, more like on the painting. I would love to be able to do like pinstripes and stuff, but
mm,
my hands limit that. So there's
yeah,
other options that I got brewing in my mind that I've been searching online, see the different paints or different things that are bigger markers or like paint markers that are out there that's going to help me out later on. But yeah, it's
yeah,
just that creativity.
yeah,
I when people like when you say you call me an artist, I laugh is you know I never picture myself. That's the last thing on earth that I would ever think about. Somebody would call me an artist and stuff.
mm,
So that's why I laugh. Is all I can draw is stick figures, man. I can't draw nothing else. But I'm honored, and
yeah,
I just humbled when people say you're an artist. I'm like, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you so much. But yeah,
So
I mean, this has helped me out a lot.
yeah, so how did you like you work with wood? So that's
Mhm.
your medium. How did you start? Getting into woodworking.
Well, it was funny, man, because when I got out, I was trying to do something, and I actually wanted to buy. I actually wanted to buy a flag, at that time, because I wanted to still be motivated. I had my American flag with my Marine Corps emblem, stuff like that. Like I'm still motivated to the day. And I was looking online, and I was starting seeing the prices like $275, $300, stuff like that. Like golly. And at that time, I didn't have a job because obviously I just had gotten out. And I was looking into it, and my wife sees it, and she's like, "No, you could probably do that yourself." I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. See what happens." And let me tell you, my first one, let's yeah, it was pretty bad, but it was a start. And when I did it, I didn't know if it was I was kind of comforting. It was helping me relax and be like in a different spot. Because once I was doing it, I was like, you know what, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I was just like gluing the stars on, right? Because I bought them on Amazon and everything like that. So I glued it on, and I had it look all right. But then I got the stencil. You know what? Let me try dremeling it out by hand. And let me tell you, my first couple of stars were not pointy. They started to look
Yeah.
round. They started to look like a hexagon, like weird shapes. Like, you know what? Let me just keep practicing and practicing. And I just started watching YouTube videos and seeing how people did it. Like, oh, you can buy different size bits and start carving it smaller and obviously go bigger. Like, oh, you know what? Let me try that. So I started buying little stuff here and there from Home Depot and stuff like that with my Dremel and the Dremel bits. And I started practicing and practicing. Like, holy crap! This is actually pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I was making one, and then one of my buddies like, "Hey, can you make me one?" Like, yeah, dude, I'll hook you up. And so I made it, and he's like, "Okay, how much are you?" Like, nothing, man. It's free. It's just something that I like to do. And then from that moment, it just went from he had it in his house, and somebody saw like, "Hey, one of my boys, he wants one of those flags." Like, oh, okay, well, I'll make him one, and just start going from there. And at that time, I was just making it for fun. And they said, "Dude, you should open an Instagram account." Like, dude, what the hell is Instagram? Like, I don't know what the hell, because I only have Facebook and like this.
Yep.
So when I'm thinking about Instagram, like that, those like the fake models and people trying to do like crazy stuff. Like, nah, man,
Yeah.
that ain't for me. And I said, I'll just do it and see what happens. And from there, it just went crazy, and I've been doing pretty good. And people have been asking me from different parts of the U.S. to send them a flag or a bottle opener or key holder, stuff like that. So it's just crazy how everything ended up where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And to your point, man, I always talk a lot about just finding something to suck a little less at every day, right? Because I play the guitar, not well, but I play it, right?
Hmm.
And each day I try to get a little better, and it's in that process of just learning how to do something that
Hmm.
you can start to feel better about yourself. Yes, it sucks and it's frustrating because you
Hmm.
fail so much at the beginning, especially like when it comes to an instrument, because when you fail, it's obvious when you fail, because
Yeah.
people will look at you like you're strangling a cat. It's bad, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, in that pursuit though, you get a little better and you see the progress you make. And when you're engrossed in that kind of activity, where in the psychological literature we call it flow, where time just kind of disappears around you and
Oh
you're
yeah.
just totally immersed in it. It's challenging but not too much, and you're just in this groove of being present in the moment and just totally experiencing an internal sense of joy from it. And we talk a lot about that because it doesn't matter how you get there, whether it's
Hmm.
with woodworking or glass or with an instrument, or like we were talking with Mia, whether it's working with clay, or I'm going to talk to a comic this week as well,
Hmm.
who's a veteran comic. However it is, just getting into something that you can make incremental steps towards getting better at. There's just something that brings a sense of joy to your life by doing it, and it's just something that's therapeutic.
Hmm.
But yeah. And of
It's
course,
gonna.
sorry, as this conversation happened, when you start doing this, that's how you and Ray met, is through your
Yeah.
mutual love for creative pursuits. And because you two met, that's how we met. And it's just now here we are. There's social capital that comes
Hmm.
out of it. There's a community that you
Yeah.
plug into, a veteran creator community, because this is podcasting is creating as well.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
you find a like-minded people who also feel a certain way about creating things as well.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
And
crazy what you're saying about the whole time consuming thing. Because once I start journaling, I just get lost in that time, and by that time, I'm somewhat done. Because I'm like Ray, like I got my back. I have a fractured back because of my accident. Because I went to Iraq, I came back, I was in a Humvee rollover,
Oh wow.
and I was actually there was like a 90 to 95% chance that I was gonna be paralyzed.
Oh shit.
So I actually
Yeah.
got that's the crazy part. It happened when it came back to the US, not in country, which pisses me off, which is bull crap. So I got medevaced to the hospital, and I was stuck there for a while, and that's when I learned about morphine and how it felt so good, and I got all high and everything like that. So
yeah.
that happened in 2009, and it's crazy because a year later I deployed to Afghanistan in 2010.
Oh hell, that is
Wow.
crazy.
Even with I messed up back on the rollover, I actually got TBI. My front teeth were broken off. I started looking like Shark Boy. My front teeth. I
Sure.
messed up my shoulder. My skin was peeled to the back, so some of my skin was sticking out. So I had to get stitches, and so that's how I got TBI and PTSD a lot. Because nowadays I do not feel comfortable sitting in the passenger seat. Like I have to be the one driving. I have to be the one in control.
Mm.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
when the accident happened, I was actually being the A driver.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Was
luckily
it?
we had all our PPE, we had our seatbelt and everything. And the thing was, we're driving the Humvee with the soft top, and when after the accident happened and we rolled and I lost consciousness, I blacked out, I came back, blacked out, and luckily when it ended, we landed with the tires like on the ground, but then
Mm.
the top freaking broke off. And all the rifles went flying everywhere. And after I saw the picture of the Humvee, it's like we turned that thing into a convertible.
Wow.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was crazy, and they just say like how you survive and stuff like that. Like PPE and seatbelt save lives, man. And not gonna lie, I think God was looking out for me, saying, "No, it's not your time yet." But I'm grateful, I'm still alive. But all that happened for a reason,
Yeah.
Greater
and
purpose.
from there, that
So yeah.
I said for a greater purpose, brother. You're still around for a greater purpose.
Yeah.
exactly. And it's crazy how things end up that if that wouldn't happen, this conversation wouldn't be happening right now.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, we're happy that it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so,
Like I said, that's how it
so
is. That
yeah.
things happen, and you start meeting other people, and like in me in my woodworking community, there's a lot of other veterans that do the same thing.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter if you're Army, Marine Corps, Navy, all that. We all like help out each other. We
Yeah.
don't. There's no competition amongst us. And
Well,
that's
maybe
one
a
of the
maybe a
cool parts.
little, maybe a little, right?
Well, yeah, we all know the Marine Corps is the best branch, but that's a different story.
Yeah,
We're
well,
all
yeah. You Marines do know that. Yeah. um, yeah. So let me ask you: you guys both have talked about having chronic pain,
Hmm.
and since you mentioned morphine a second ago, have you guys had any trouble with opioids and pain management?
yeah. When I was in well shit, even when I was in the Marines, that was the first thing they gave out was candy, fucking morphine,
Yeah.
Valium, naproxen, fuck it,
Mm,
everything, man. I had a cocktail, of freaking pain pills and stuff. The top of
Mhm.
my fridge was covered in pain pills. I got addicted to that shit, man.
Mhm.
It was a bitch to get off that. I
Yeah.
took 2 weeks of leave and just went cold turkey because again, if we would have said something, it would have been like, oh no, you're out, you're
mhm,
done. And I was trying to, to stay in, I wanted to finish my career. I wanted to stay in as long as I could. So I never said nothing about that. So I just went cold turkey. And, my wife remembers me she coming down the stairs and I'm watching TV playing video games, but the TV ain't on. I'm just
Oh
playing
man.
with the
yeah.
control. She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I mean, the sweats and everything. And, I just got off all that crap. And
Good.
even then, afterwards, after the surgeries and everything, I'll take them as I needed it. But then as soon as I'm feeling where I can use weed, I use weed every so often or some sort
Yeah.
of edible. That helps me out a lot. Or now I
Mhm.
found some good CBD now that's really good. That's helping. But that's my go-to now. But man, you get addicted to all that crap, and it made it. And even when I was having my nightmares and everything, all that stuff made it worse. Was
Yeah.
making it worse, man. It was. I mean,
So I just because you guys are in California and the rules and the laws are a little different compared to the rest of the country, and we got listeners from all over. I will say that please don't do anything to manage your pain that will put you running afoul with the law. Please don't, because that's just going to make your life so much worse. And any temporary gains that you may be receiving from something like marijuana, it's not going to be worth the ramifications of going into the criminal justice system in any way. A lot of places are lightening the penalties for them. Thank God, because I don't really think that there should be as as severe as they are in some places. But yeah, I hear people talk about cannabis use a lot, and I can tell you it is a double-edged sword for those who may be, especially people with PTSD. You start using cannabis, and eventually it stops working, and then you have to keep using because your body does get dependent upon it. And
Get used
people
to it.
always, yeah, people always go, no, weed's not addictive. Kind of. It kind of isn't, but
Hmm.
your body adjusts to the presence of the
Hmm.
chemical within your system.
After a while,
So
it just requires it.
yeah. So Solo, what about you? Did you have any troubles with pain meds? Because
Honestly, I don't really take meds because one of the things I don't want to be addicted to it and
yeah,
be one of those that, like, I have to take meds to feel good about myself or try to feel better. I mean,
yeah,
everybody works differently,
yeah,
and
for
but
sure.
like I said, and my when I talk to my mental health shit, when I tell them that, like, the stuff that I go through or the stuff I say, what do you think about me prescribing some pills for the pain or for your PTSD? I'm like, you know what? I would be okay, but I don't want to be those that be addicted and be one of those crazy vets that say, "Oh man, this guy's taking his Marine Corps M&Ms. He needs that stuff to be a normal person type of thing."
Yeah,
And like, and plus, I know after a while, all those meds gonna mess up your insides after a while if you get addicted and stuff like that. And it's like, no,
yeah,
I'm not with that party. But that's just me.
yeah. No. I mean, and it look, some people medications are the only viable option they have.
Hmm.
It's just they're to a point where they may be in so much distress that they have to take medications,
Hmm.
and pain is something that, goodness,
It sucks.
I had four bulging discs, so I think that's something that all three of us at this
Oh,
point,
I
you,
have that.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
and it's one of those things that you cannot describe that to somebody unless they've been through it. I wouldn't put that on
Oh,
my worst enemy.
Oh yeah,
It,
that
it,
sucks.
no, man. You
and
make
you
me
feel
get PTSD now, man.
right, yeah, and you feel like you're going crazy because nothing you can do. I mean, you lay down, it hurts. You
Mhm,
stand up, it hurts. You sit down, it hurts. You're in
mhm,
the shower, it hurts. There is never a time in which you are not in constant discomfort. And
mhm,
so I remember, my mental resolve really started to break after a while because it was just I couldn't handle it was the worst pain because from about my lower back down to my knee was that sharp
Yeah.
stabbing pain.
mhm,
From my knee down was numbness. And
Yes.
I didn't know what was worse, man, honestly, because the numbness would drive you
mhm,
crazy too,
Yes.
right? And and so I know why people end up, and I when I went to the VA and I was like, I need something. And I said, but I don't want narcotics. And then they go,
mhm.
well, at least we know you're not faking. And I went,
Yeah.
you jerk. Yeah. I no,
They,
I mean I get why they have to say
yeah.
things like that,
Mhm,
but yeah, it was to the point where I didn't want any narcotics like that or anything that was opioid where I could run the risk of taking them and them grabbing you because they grab
mhm,
you really quick, as Ray can attest. They grab you really quick. But I just I wonder because you guys have talked about chronic pain. I know what
mhm,
chronic pain is like. I've had two shoulder surgeries, two elbow surgeries, and I had the four bulging disc. I don't think that my pain tolerance will ever be normal again. But
she's not wrong.
yeah, but I just know that a lot of vets talk about having to use medications
Mhm,
to manage pain, and then it grabs them really quickly, and then as soon as they're grabbed, the VA kind of, well, they stigmatize you.
you're marked.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, well, you gave them to them, And then when
Uh-huh.
they get addicted, what do you think is going to happen? They need
I need it.
some help. But
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what a lot of what's helped me a lot, especially with pain management now, is just being more active. I've
Yeah.
started to do more. I'm starting to walk more. And it took me a while. I mean, every step, man, constant pain. I still
Uh-huh.
get pain here and there, but now it's not that I'm sucking it up or forcing myself. It's just I know that this is starting to help out a lot more the more I'm moving.
Yeah.
Just being more active and stuff. God, just the other day we went to Disneyland. I walked 9 miles at Disneyland with my walker. But man, that was 9 miles. I have not done that in a long freaking time, and it
No.
felt great. I was sore for 2-3 days, but you know what? It was worth it.
Yeah.
And it's just because you got to find the different outlets, different types of medication. Like what we're
Mhm.
doing. Doing the
Yeah.
art. A lot of people, go out and work out, run, hike. Something you got to find something that's not a pill or
Yeah.
cannabis. That's why I use it when needed, or if
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah. No,
That's why
I wasn't Ray. I wasn't judging you,
no,
buddy.
I
I wasn't.
no, I
But
know, but you got to find
Yeah.
outlets. You
Uh-huh.
yeah.
just can't be stuck there. And like Solo was saying, I didn't want to be that crazy vet. I didn't want to be that vet that was to be stuck at home drinking beer, smoking weed every day while my
Uh-huh.
kids grow up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to be the vet dad that's out there with them, sucking it up sometimes when it's fucking cold or when it's hot and when you're in pain, but you're there. I want them to remember that what, Dad hurt, but Dad did everything he can for us. He
Yeah.
never used his pain or his disabilities as an excuse not to do shit.
Amen.
They'll never forget that shit. They
So
never will.
there's a couple things. Number one, we talked about stereotypes
Uh-huh.
in previous episodes because you're right. I name it or I've kind of named it PTSD Pat. We all have known that case which people think of, right?
Uh-huh.
And we don't want to inadvertently confirm that negative stereotype of the PTSD Pat, of the person that's just unregulated and out there, because it's well, it makes us feel uncomfortable about talking about our mental health issues because
Uh-huh.
there's this negative stereotype out there. But to the point though, there's a positive stereotype too, which we've talked about at least within the honor cultures, with Hispanic cultures and other similar veins. But you can't be perfect either.
Oh yeah,
You
you're right.
know, there's no way of being just the quiet professional that's just, yeah, I'm a Marine, or I'm a military member, and I'm perfect because that's what I am. I can handle my stuff. There's somewhere between the middle. We have to be able to talk freely and openly about these issues. And I think that if we don't, then we force ourselves into boxes.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I think that's the same thing is that sometimes we don't say because we don't want people to feel bad about
yeah,
us or start
yeah,
thinking differently. Because like there's certain things I don't talk to or tell stuff to like my parents or my wife or my
Mm,
kids. Because then they'll be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna keep an eye on you because the stuff that you tell me is kind of weird. But then they're also gonna say like, you know what? Let's not leave your dad alone for a little bit. And that's not. I don't want them to be worried, especially I don't want my kids to be
mm,
scared of me either, because if that
exactly.
happens, that's just gonna push them away,
yeah.
Yeah,
and there will
Y-
be a lot of stress on me because I can't be near them, and
yeah.
especially with the stuff that I went through. Like when I got in my accident, I was in a body cast for 6 months,
Yeah.
like a turtle shell. I was like walking that RoboCop because it was that bad,
Mm,
and there was certain days that my kid wanted to play with me, and I couldn't even bend over to pick her up. That
yeah.
I couldn't even like tie my own shoe. I couldn't put my socks because obviously I was in the body because I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So stuff like that really got into my head. That, you know what? Like I feel like I'm worthless because I can't even do certain things with my kid. And then to this day, like my youngest is 10, and my oldest she's 16. And sometimes my 10-year-old she tends to like climb on me like a little monkey, and
Mm,
like my back just all of a sudden starts hurting, and like and that's something that really stresses me out, and then I get really like mad that this accident happened. That I can't even like play monkey bars, or have my kid like hang on me because after a while like my back like starts hurting really bad.
yeah,
yeah.
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 There was even with me when I was stuck. Fuck, when I had 8 months in the hospital, it was spasms. Nobody can touch me because as soon as he got close, my body went in defense mode and I'll just spasm. So even my kids, I mean, my two little ones were 1.5, 2 at the time. The ones 3 or 4, they remember a little bit, but it took a while when I finally started getting better back home. It took them a long time to adjust to me again. Because all they saw me was like, you couldn't touch daddy, you couldn't get near daddy. Because right away my body would just spasm. But yeah, and when as they got older too, they hit a certain weight, and I couldn't carry them no more. I was done. I always wanted to roll around with my boy, freaking wrestle. Every so often I'll get him and throw him on the couch and stuff when I can. But then if he wants to keep going, I'm like, I can't. Shit.
Time out.
Time out. I'm done. But yeah, it's sometimes I do get down on myself, just why did all this shit happen to me? But at the end of the day, bringing God into, like Solo brought up earlier, is there's a purpose for the shit we went through, and it's not that it was to hurt us or to make us weak. I think through all the stuff that I've been through, if anything, not only it's made me a lot more mentally stronger, but just being able to relate and the empathy with others, and letting others know that they're not alone. And when I felt that I wasn't alone, I was like, shit, I'm not the only one. That's when I started going to therapies and stuff. First, it was just with my therapist. Then we did a group. And once I got to the group, I was like, fuck, I thought I was fucked up. I'm not. There's a lot of us here. And that really opened up my eyes more. And I was able to kind of, open up myself a lot more. And just little by little, just progression and everything. And talking more as my friends were coming out. I start hitting them up. Hey, how you feeling? How you doing? We all know when someone's bullshit, oh, I'm fine. Nah. How you doing?
Yeah.
Go to the side, have a beer, or have a little talk, and that's where I started feeling more comfortable with myself too, and being to open up more. Especially just doing with suicide, man. It's hard to mention or to say.
Yeah. No, for sure, and obviously we feel that too, brother. When you say something about creative pursuits, like one of the books that we talk a lot about on this show is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Now, this guy had a really difficult life. He went through the Holocaust and was a survivor.
Oh, wow.
And so when he came out the other end of that, he had every reason in the world to be bitter and angry and just be hateful towards everybody and feel as if everybody in the world owed him something for what his pain that he had to go through.
He went through, yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But what he did is he came out and he wrote this book, and he talks about how we find meaning in life. But to your point, in the Eastern tradition, the Buddhist orientation, they have the great truths. The first great truth is that life is suffering. So that's the first thing. Is there's no matter how you look at it, bad things are going to happen, and you have to endure them. The second great truth is do nothing that adds to your suffering or to the suffering of others.
Yeah.
So once you understand that there is a certain amount that you must endure, you can find meaning in that. That's what Viktor Frankl talked about, is that why is it that people go through these terrible things like life-threatening cancer, but yet they come out with the perspective of, oh, wow, my life really means a lot for me right now. I need to live right now and take advantage of every minute that I have right now. So their purpose becomes enduring the pain, enduring the suffering. And there can be profound meaning that can manifest out of that. So it sounds like that's what Ray and Solo, you guys have kind of circled around, is that even though your body hurts and you know that there's, let's just say, some consequences for some of the lifestyle decisions in which we've had, and that there's still profound meaning that you can have through enduring, and then also the creative pursuits that you use. Because that's another thing Viktor Frankl said, contending with a worthwhile goal, other people, and creative pursuits. Those are the three ways, and he says that you can find meaning in life. So it sounds like that's exactly what you guys have kind of tapped into without ever reading Viktor Frankl's book.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You see, it's a real thing.
Yeah,
It's not just a
for
book.
sure. Yeah. So tell everybody where they can find your products out there. Obviously, we talked about Instagram because you guys have got a pretty decent Instagram following. I think you both have about 3,000 people that follow you. So, I mean,
I still don't know how.
Yes, I'm always blessed. That's why I'm always
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Thank you. You know, I always send a personal message. Anybody that follows me, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. You know, much love and respect. And I mean, I don't follow everybody on my site, but those that I do, you know, I'm able to communicate and stuff. And it's amazing, and it's such a beautiful feeling when you're able to meet some of your followers and stuff in person. And you know, it's just that, you know, that love for a complete stranger. But yet, I mean, you've been able to help each other out and through certain different ways and stuff. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing, man. Like, it was solo for a while. Me, we're like, damn, bro, you got more followers than me. No, I got more than you. And it's just a funny thing because it's
Marines.
not a competition, but it's just, it's like, wow, you know, these people are following our dumbasses and stuff. You know?
What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
They don't know who we are. That's why, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me jump on something you said, bro. That the whole thing about meeting
I think
people.
Solo might have lost connection.
Oh,
there you are.
So,
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we can now. There you go.
Okay. What I was saying is that the whole thing about meeting people, like, I started following him, and Ray followed me, and like it was crazy that he did a motorcycle event.
Yeah.
And he ordered a flag from me, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna go deliver it to you. And when we were talking, dude, it's like we knew each other for our whole lives.
Years, yeah.
You know, let me ask you: do veterans mainly follow you, or do you have civilians that also follow you as well?
I have a mix,
yeah.
I got mixed, yeah. Civilians, veterans, yeah, all ages too.
Yeah, I got military, civilians, and bots.
Yeah, the fake profile.
Fake profiles. I get those all the time too.
I think those too.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is because our veteran community is really good at supporting veteran businesses and pursuits. And that's why I tell people to engage within the veteran community as much as you can, because here's two men, both from the same branch, who had different experiences in the uniform, but damn it, when you meet, it's like there's a familiarity there that you can't have with any other type of person. That's not been my experience, at least. When I meet veterans, there's a shorthand that we engage in that just immediately is like an established connection that's so quick compared to like a civilian. You got to find some way of relating to them. But when you meet another veteran, regardless of what branch they are, they just get it. They know what it's like. When we were talking about sitting and eating McDonald's for Christmas Eve dinner, they get it. And that's something that civilians will never understand, the level of sacrifice that you have to endure to be in the uniform. But when you meet somebody else who has, it's just, there's a shorthand. It's quick. Yeah.
It's that bond and that brotherhood that we have with each other, man. It doesn't matter where you came from, but we all wore the uniform regardless of what it is, and we all did the same thing. We defended this country, and just like that's a bond that will never break and that civilians will never understand.
Yeah. Which is why I think so many of us feel a little alienated when we get out of the uniform. Because we miss each other. That's the thing. We miss our brothers and our sisters from the uniform. We, like Ray was just talking about, your Hispanicness or your Latino-ness doesn't matter to us. We love each other fully and just open-hearted. And then you go from that to civilians don't get you. They don't understand our culture. They don't understand that we don't look. Yeah, they don't look the same way. Yeah.
The main thing they will never understand is our very, very dark humor.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's for sure. Especially some of the stuff me and Solo send each other. We're like, what?
Oh, he sent me some.
Oh, okay. So now that you're that's it. You'll be getting some stuff too.
Yeah, he sent me some. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and that's the thing
I
I
won't,
say. I would never send something like that to Sven because they'll be looking like, dude, like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, sorry,
yeah.
wrong person.
Wrong
Well,
person. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
you're
glad you
not
guys
supposed to.
mentioned that because, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking to a veteran comedian slash improv actor a little later this week. So you
Uh-huh.
maybe like that's because that's one of the things we use our sense of humor a lot
Mhm.
to deal with the stressors of the uniform.
Yep.
And it's funny that now this person is using that out in the civilian world as well.
Uh-huh.
Although I'm sure he has to like dumb it down or tone it down
Yeah.
for
I think
for
secure some of that happiness.
yeah, right. Right. So, so yet again, we got Sergeant Solo. That's his Instagram handle, and we got PTSD bottles, and it's Paletta. What? I just
Smooth
said it sounds
paleta.
like a gringo,
Smooth
man.
paleta.
Smooth
He's a smooth
paleta.
daddy, man. Smooth
Yeah.
daddy right there.
Yeah. Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Smooth paleta.
Yeah, I know. I said it's like such a gringo, man. Like
That's all right.
Paletta.
I don't want to say it, but yeah.
I know. Like, look,
It's
man.
a
Look, I
no
know
need
that
to
it's a.
call
I
that,
know
but
it's a
yeah.
popsicle. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Hey, kudos to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
so is there anything you guys want to get to before we call this a day?
You want you want to go? Go ahead, brother.
I just let them know that hey, we're all here to support each other, to help each other out. Never feel alone. There's always somebody that's thinking about you, somebody that loves you, that cares about you. And if you don't have anybody, feel free to contact me, and we can even if we just talk it out for hours. I don't care. If we stay up for till freaking 2, 3 in the morning, I can help you out in some way, some forth. That's a win for me.
Exactly, brother. Going back to you were saying the same thing. I mean, there's been times I stood up like 4 or 5 in the morning talking with someone, either
Hmm.
in Cali or somewhere else. But it's just that being able to be there for that person at that time, at that moment when they freaking need it,
Hmm.
priceless, man. That's why I mean, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we do got to charge for some of our stuff for supplies and everything.
Hmm.
But like I know for solo myself too, percentage goes right back to helping out other veterans and stuff or
Yep.
organizations and stuff. And that's one of the things I love doing events with other vets. I know you had Pikey on Throat Puncher not too long ago too, and it's just we're all coming together to help each other out, bring that that it's okay to not be okay. There's a lot of us out there. I mean, Pikey alone, I mean, he had a rough childhood and even in the military, and that's one other thing that we got to look at too when it comes to PTSD. A lot of our vets had some fucked up childhoods, so they already
Yeah.
got PTSD as a kid, and then
Yeah.
as they joined the military, it's double and triple on a lot of them, that needs to be addressed too with some of our veterans too. It's not just the military side; it's also their upbringing and stuff that they had.
Did you guys get a chance? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Did you guys get a chance to check out the episode with Forrest? So he's an FMF corpsman. So you guys should
No, I have
already
not that
you guys
one.
should already love him, right? Because that's the only sailors
we
you
gotta
guys
love
love.
our
But he wrote a book called Angel Blue, and of course he talked about being sexually assaulted as a child
Oh,
and
damn.
growing up in the foster system, and just of course he got addicted to alcohol as well and some other prescription medications, and he's got this just really gut-wrenching story that he tells, and it reminded me a lot of Pikey, honestly, and just what they had to go through, and just to see them come out the other side of that and be doing it's an amazing story. So if you guys get a chance, and he's right down the road from y'all in San Diego. So
Really?
Oh, wow.
Shit.
yeah,
We'll have to meet up with them.
he's got a TikTok with like one of the videos has like 500,000 views.
Oh my Lord!
Well, we'll have to find that guy and meet up with him or something at an event.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the links
Please.
for sure. Yeah,
There you go. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if that's a good place to call it, you guys got anything else? We covered the Instagram handles. We talked about your creative pursuits and a little bit about you guys. But if you've enjoyed this conversation that we've had here with these two knucklehead Marines,
Hurrah!
please spread the word and get an opportunity to talk to other people in the community about the great things that we're talking about here on Vet with a Mic and the great veterans that we talk to and the profound things that they're doing in life after the uniform. If you guys would like to see a particular topic or an interview happen here on Vet with a Mic, please reach out to me. Let me know if I can get it done. I will move hell and high water to get something done. I promise you. But as always, however life finds you, hope life finds you well. Till next time.
Thank you.